Hello, amateurs, and welcome to our Rugby World Cup series. And I've got Elko with me again today. Now, the second round of fixtures is just round the corner. We've done a review on the week one, so go and find that in the feed if you haven't seen that one already. So, Elko, which games are standing out for you this coming weekend?
Well, I think Ireland Tonga is very interesting. Let's see what happens with that. Tonga obviously will got some former All Blacks in their team who look good. They haven't played yet, so I would imagine they are absolutely raring to go. Um, I hope it's not affected by any sort of pressure on the referee. Who I don't know who it is this weekend for that one. I haven't seen that yet, but there's a lot of talk around what happened with Wales, Fiji, and the refereeing in that, which I didn't particularly have a problem with. But there was a lot of chat around, well, it's because Fiji aren't a tier one nation. And I hope there's no hangover. As far as I'm concerned, the referees never go in to do anything but their best in the games. And they're going to make mistakes, but we just got to crack on as rugby supporters. And the whole point of the game, not the whole point of the game, but certainly when I played was the capital R and respect, both for your sort of guys you're playing against and the guys you're playing with, but ultimately with the officials as well. And we don't want to go down a route of referees fearing to go and do stuff, and we need them to play the game, right? Just thought I'd get that one out of the way. But I think Ireland also, the selection, what they do they pick Sexton to go again, having come through healthily the other week, what they do around centre partnerships and things like that. I would imagine it'll be a very similar team that played Samoa in the World Cup warm-ups, but I think that will be quite an intriguing game.
So what do you think? Do you think they will pick Sexton?
Yes. I think he'll pick himself. I think he wants to play. I'll tell you what. I was having a chat with someone last night, and this is way off like the charts sort of thing. But I was thinking maybe they play him against Tonga, and we do a bit of a rope-a-dope, and he doesn't start against South Africa, and we have a completely different game plan. Because I'd imagine that South Africa are thinking he's playing, we're going after him big time. Both in terms of pressure like they did with Finn Russell in the game of the weekend, and also sort of when they have the ball, running at Sexton in defence. So look, I don't think it will happen. It was just something that came up in a conversation I had last night. It'd be quite a good one because we're going to have to play them twice, right? So if we're going to go the whole way, so why not try something now? You wouldn't do it in the final, but you might do it in a game that is not a knockout, although it kind of is.
Yeah.
Have you any thoughts on a TT? What would you do if you were coaching that team?
Well, I would personally definitely be picking Sexton for this weekend. I think it's, he's crucial to the way the team plays, and he's only played one game leading up to this point. He probably could do with a bit more game time. Would he play the whole game? Almost certainly not, I wouldn't say, but I would certainly be picking him. He could, there's time further on in the group to maybe have a little bit of a rest and put him in cotton wool if you need to, but I would certainly be having him in there. Whether you'd rest him against South Africa, that'd be an amazing tactical choice. It's very yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? It's it would be a good test of the squad as well, I would say, to see how they would react to that, and almost like a challenge within a challenge, like a whole different thing. So, yeah, I'd be a fan of doing that for sure. Now, what about other games this weekend?
Yeah, just quickly before, did you see after the Ireland game, Sexton getting interviewed? He got interviewed by the guy who's really good, who's ex-Sevens, really good. I can't think of his name, but they were doing sort of they'd done the player of the match, and then were interviewing Johnny, and they said to him, "Do you know you broke the record today for being the oldest ever Irish player?" And he didn't know. No one had brought it up before, and he didn't know, and he got caught completely off guard. It was really good. If you can have a look at that, it's very, very funny. He's not happy. Okay, other games. Well, the other one that jumps out is Pool C with the Aussies going up against Fiji. So that's going to be interesting. Fiji will feel robbed and a bit hurt from the weekend. Certainly, that's how I would sort of, if I was coaching, would be playing that up. Although, as I said earlier, I don't agree that they were, but Australia are there for the taking. I think. I think probably Fiji will be more battle hardened from their game at the weekend. But I'm hoping for another electrifying sort of chucking the ball around, at least from one of the sides. See what Australia do, whether they keep it tight or try and fight fire with fire. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Australia as my kind of bolters in this tournament. You know, a team that aren't fancied to win, but I think might well grow into it and start and have a really good run. It's a tricky game though, because this is kind of do or die for Fiji really at week 2. You know, they have to win this game if they got any chance of qualifying. So I agree. I think this one is going to be the game of the weekend, and hopefully both teams go out and play and they don't get constricted by it. I can't imagine that they would. You know, you don't really see Fiji constricted by too much ever. It's only if errors start creeping into the game, you know, that may be the case. But I think this could be an absolute banger this weekend.
Yeah, it was a weird one with the game last week with Fiji and Wales. I don't know what you I know you didn't see a lot of it, but let me tell you, the last with 10 minutes to go, they are less than that, I think with 5 minutes to go, they had a load of options on the Welsh line, and they kept taking scrums, which I thought which was bizarre. I mean, they ended up scoring eventually, but it ate maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then they did get another chance at the end, but Ranrandra unfortunately dropped the ball. Whether they would have kicked the points to win it, I don't know. But I just felt that was a bit. I'd be just taking quick taps if I was them all of the time. The type of athletes they are, but yeah, it is the or die, isn't it? They've got to get a win at the weekend. Australia, I suppose, can afford to lose and go on and do something later on, but be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even though I've said Australia are my bolters, I'd like Fiji to win that game. You know, let's keep this group alive all the way through to the final weekend.
Oh yeah,
and see where it goes. What other games are you looking at, Elko? Which other ones stand out?
Well, yeah, in that group, sorry, that side of the draw, we got England and Japan. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think just from seeing, you know, what do England do with this, you know, spark that they've given the fans. There will be more opportunity to string some phases together against Japan. So will we see some sort of gelling going on in the midfield, or no? Are we going to see 4 or 5 drop goals? Is this the mad game plan that he was always thinking? Did he look at the stats and go, number one, we can't get into the 22 as much as I'd like, and when we do, we never score, but we do get into the gap between the 22 and the 10-meter line 90%, you know, and George Ford can kick the goals, so why not? You know, maybe they win 56-7 when he scores all from the boot. I don't know. No, I can't see it. I think they'll. I'd like to see them play a bit more and run a bit more, because I do think they have it in them. But I just think this momentum and the buzz is awesome for the competition. And let's see where they get to. My bolters.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them play a bit more, but I can't see it happening. Not until they've built a score at least, or if they happen to get like a really good clean break in some early phase play, you know, first 2 or 3 phases, then they might continue and score some tries. But I see them playing, or, you know, setting out to play anyway, exactly the same as they have done in recent games. And I don't see them going away from that DNA too much at all, which, you know, is a shame. I'd like to see them play a bit more, but there was such a good feeling in the stadium after they beat Argentina last week so comprehensively with 14 men that, you know, that's almost like well, certainly I do. I felt proud about how they managed that game as well. So I'm kind of conflicted. You can probably tell.
Yeah, it is a tough one because that's what the fans have been dying for ages. Like it's not, I, they're my second team, as you know, from living in England for so long. But like all the fans want to, they want to see passion and they want to see, like the players really care. And I'm not saying they don't, but in some games, I mean, I was at Twickenham 3 or 4 times in the last 12 months, and it was dire. It was just, they just didn't look up for it. Whereas, God, it was just I mean, you would have seen even more because you were there, but you could pick it up on the. Oh, hello.
We got an intruder, Elka. No.
Hello, sir. No. Who does he think's going to win? Ask him who's going to win on the World Cup.
He doesn't know. He just wanted the stool. he's got it now.
Bless him. Bless him. But yeah, no, it's what the fans needed. It's an injection of. I mean, they could go out and play very poorly again and lose. Frankly, I'd stick Marcus Smith in this week just to really throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Let's go for it, sort of thing. But I doubt he'll make much changes. I don't think it will be literally the same. My only concern is, do you guys need to go to 14 men to get this drive and fire in their belly? It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I don't know. What I would say is that I definitely don't see him throwing Marcus Smith in there. Definitely 100% not. But I think what it did going down to 14 men is it just narrowed the focus even more. So their focus has been quite narrow anyway, and it just kind of restricted them even more and made them even more focused on the things that they knew were going to sort of end up making them win the game. So no, I don't think they need to. But in some ways, I think it did help them this weekend. Hopefully we don't have that every weekend. And we don't need it every weekend, but I think it did help them this weekend just gone. Okay, let's move on to one of the other games. Let's go with Samoa Chile, because I know Chile are one of your favourite teams in this World Cup, Alco. So what do we think? How are they going to shape up in, played their first World Cup game last weekend? Obviously there's going to be a huge dump of, emotional energy, and then they've got to play Samoa.
Lovely, isn't it? Nice, a nice little easy second fixture. Yeah, I slightly fear for them. As we spoke about in the previous podcast, they were extra special at the weekend. They looked like a tier one nation. Their line out looked good, their scrum looked good. They're just all the behaviours, how they sort of interacted with ref and stuff, and it was just really cool. But then I also wonder was there an element of being a bit scared that they could get absolutely whooped, and is that emotional baggage then gone, and then it's very difficult then to get back up against a team who are going to rip their heads off. They're going to really going for it, and they won't want to lose. I think Samoa will probably win that quite handy. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see Chile get a scalp, but it'll be whether it's Samoa or not, I don't know. Might be England, but fingers crossed. Again, I'm hoping for a good game. I think we'll get a good game. I think you look at two sides that want to go. It's just whether emotionally and physically Chile can go and do it again. If they go and do it again, I'll be mighty impressed. And someone should chuck a load of money into Chile rugby and South American rugby and get some kind of comp going down there, because they're bringing a lot to the party.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Wales, Portugal, what are you seeing happening there?
Probably a Portugal win. I'm just on a Welsh wind-up. No, I'm looking forward to seeing Wales go out again and seeing if Biggar is playing and what kind of vibe he's given to the rest of his team. I don't know if you've seen some of what was going on the weekend. Again, personally, I love it. The 10 rules the roost. If he wants to scream and shout at other players for being gimps, then he can do so. It's just whether there's egos there that I don't think George North. Maybe Tompkins might be a bit upset. But I don't know much about Portugal. I know they played a warm-up game against Ireland behind closed doors, and the chat was that they weren't great, quite messy. But we're looking at a home nations win, I think, on that one, a fairly healthy one, a bonus point win for Wales, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this game and I think it could be a really attractive game to watch. So it's definitely one that I've kind of earmarked as, a really good watch. Obviously, I expect Wales to win and probably quite comfortably, but I expect Portugal to, make a real good sort of fist of it and try to play themselves. So, I'm keen for that one.
I suppose Portugal would have looked and seen Chile and how they played. Now that can go one or two ways. That can put more pressure on them. Expectations will be a lot higher on a Portuguese team who have had a lot of backing for a long time. So yeah, that's they normally play an attractive style of rugby, so it should be two good teams going at it. Whether I think Gatland was pretty annoyed with some of the decision making, so whether Wales really tighten up this week and sort of go into their box a little bit and play World Cup rugby, let's see. But hopefully Portugal can play some attractive stuff.
Okay, and then we're going to rattle through the last three fixtures because they're all pretty much home wins, so to speak. So France Uruguay on Thursday night. Any thoughts about
that? Nothing other than a France win. I don't see a banana skin there. I think they might get up towards 70s, maybe something similar to what Ireland did at the weekend. Fear a little bit for Uruguay, but I don't see France taking the foot off the pedal. Any chance?
No, they've made a ton of changes for this game as well, so there'll be a lot of players desperately trying to put in a performance to give themselves a chance later in the tournament, I'm sure. New Zealand, Namibia?
Similar setup, I think. I'm pretty sure. Did they play last World Cup, or was that Uruguay? I went to see them in the World Cup before.
They did it.
No, it was at Olympic Park.
Okay.
Yeah,
2015.
I went to that one.
Yeah.
I missed the haka, unfortunately. Again, I think it's a weird one for New Zealand. They probably want to get into. I don't see them playing Namibia as a good game to get back into the rhythm of really tight test match rugby. So they'll go about their jobs and get it done. They'll want to keep the New Zealand faithful at home sort of on side, so that they'll be ruthless and go out and put a ton of points on Namibia. I would have thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've released their team yet. Do you anticipate New Zealand making a ton of changes like France have?
I would think, yeah. I think they'll want to keep all the squads sort of ticking over. That might be, if they don't, then that might be a sort of magnifying glass into what's going on in the squad and the coaching. If they're worried, then they'll probably keep the same squad and try and get that going through. If they're fairly confident, and they should be fairly confident. I don't think there was anything scary on Friday night that you go, they can't go on and win. People are saying that. I don't believe that, but if they pick a whole new squad, then I'd be thinking, whoa. Or sorry, if they keep the squad, I'd be thinking, oh, they're worried. But I think they'll make wholesale changes and give everyone a chance.
Yeah, me too. Okay, lastly, South Africa, Romania, which is the first game on Sunday.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for Romania, isn't it? It's in the heat again. Poor old Romanians. I think South Africa will probably want to sort of look at what Ireland did and put their own marker down. Maybe beat that and sort of say to Ireland, yeah, we know what you did, and we can do it better. I think a big score for South Africa.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, any final thoughts, Alco, about this upcoming weekend before we draw this one to a close?
No, I'm just really enjoying so far what's happening. Are you going to any of the games? Are you going to see England?
No, I currently don't have plans to be in the stadium for any of the games, but my plan for this weekend is to actually watch as much rugby as I can, as opposed to just kind of drinking and socialising.
Well, either way sounds good. I'd recommend you try and do both, combine both. No, look, I think it's been cracking. I know there's been some stuff on socials or negging it and everything else. I just think as rugby supporters, it's a great opportunity to be positive about the sport. Please remember when in 2012 when the opening ceremony was going on, and all people here were looking at it going, this is amazing. I can guarantee you the French and everyone else were looking at it going, what is this about? Which I know people were talking about the bread. I thought it was so French. It was awesome. It was great. I just wanted to eat a baguette and drink some red wine, some cheese, and just it was awesome. So just take it all in. The only thing I agree with that there's a lot of stuff been talked about is the anthems. I do think they need to just cut it and go back to what we're all used to, and because no one can get into it. It's this a cappella thing with the kids it's beautiful, it's lovely, but it's not working. So I hope they get rid, which the rumor is they are doing so.
Yeah, I mean, I did notice something was off key when on the opening night when the French sang their national anthem. Now I was surrounded by French people, so that kind of drowned the whole thing out. But it was just a little bit stunted in some ways, I felt. But just watching most of the rest on TV, like I haven't really heard it myself, so I'm finding it really interesting. I think they are re-recording the anthems for the second round. I understand.
Yeah, I've heard this morning that it's up to the teams apparently. So if you want to keep it as it is, you can, or you can change it back to more regular sort of. I think it's more about the fans. From all accounts, people can't get it going. Apparently, the Welsh one was brutal. And each stand was singing it at different times, so it was all. You need everyone together going for it. So that's the only thing I'd change. Otherwise, I would say keep it positive. Matt Carley's a legend. Let's just keep going with a great competition. And
amazing.
Ireland are not going to win.
Amazing. Thank you, Elko. People listening at home, what do you think is going to happen this weekend? Which are your fixtures you're looking forward to the most? I think my number one pick is Australia, Fiji. Maybe backed up by Samoa, Chile. I think I'm really looking forward to that one as well. So as Elko mentioned, I'm out here for the whole World Cup. So come and say hi if you see me, and make sure you watch the daily vlogs, which are going out, which cover all my sort of match day experiences from the towns to the bars to the fan zones, and sometimes even in the stadiums as well. So Elko, thanks again for today.
Thanks, CT.
And for the people at home, get out and play.